Welcome to the Hypnosis NGH podcast. This podcast series offers a fun and serious look at hypnosis and offers various ideas, discuss case studies, along with NGH educational opportunities. I want to welcome you to the NGH Hypnosis podcast. I'm Eric Damon from the NGH. Today's guest is an NGH Order of Braid recipient, author of the internationally award-winning book on best web practices, the Websters Dictionary, How to Use the Web to Transform the World, political columnist, former White House Deputy General Counsel under the Reagan White House, and certified hypnotist. Please welcome Ralph Benko.
Thank you, Eric. Pleased to be here. I am looking forward to seeing you all at the NGH Convention in Marlborough in August, the world's greatest hypnosis convention, not just the world's greatest hypnosis convention, the greatest hypnosis convention in history.
Well, we definitely love having you every year, so that's important. And this year you're going to be presenting two seminars at this year's convention.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about each one?
Cover story is that I'm very grateful for the many blessings that hypnotism and the National Guild has brought into my life, and I'd like to give back. And this is a great opportunity to share things that have proven very valuable to me in my life. And I really think that I have an ethical duty to share these with my professional colleagues, just in case I can either be of practical help to them, or if they simply find me amusing and a good way to pass 50 minutes of otherwise less entertaining minutes of their life. One of the two seminars that I'll be presenting is called Hypnosis as a Separate and Distinct Profession. I would recommend in future that we change that to Hypnosis as a Separate and Distinct Profession, because hypnosis, thanks to the work of the Guild and its leadership, with special tribute to Dr. Dwight Damon, the primary founder and leader for these 50-some years, hypnosis is no longer viewed as kooky and spooky. It is becoming recognized by publications such as the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Fortune, Forbes, as a separate and distinguished profession. It's very rare and a great tribute to the Guild that it has emerged from being seen as a kooky and spooky thing, exemplified by the Svengali, who was the evil exploitative hypnotist in the novel Trilby by Georges du Maurier, which, by the way, is long forgotten, but was the Harry Potter of its era. And it created an initial sensitizing event, making people very suspicious of hypnosis. Dr. Damon and the Guild have professionalized it now, and it is now being studied by Harvard Medical School and many other distinguished research institutions, and it's being recognized in the mass media as a profession. Now, by way of background, and we'll go into more details when you come to this seminar, surgeons emerged as a separate and distinct profession from barbers. Back in the old days, people used to be bled by barbers for their ills, and this eventually emerged into the profession of surgery. That's why you've got the red and white stripes on the barber pole. Lawyers emerged as from the profession of orators back in ancient Athens. People would come and present their case, and eventually that evolved into the profession of law. And accountants emerged from bookkeepers. So every once in a great while, a new separate and distinct profession emerges. Hypnosis has now emerged from the kooky and spooky reputation into something that people recognize can help everyday people solve their everyday problems. Come to my seminar in Marlborough in August at the world's greatest hypnosis convention and learn more about how we became a separate and distinct profession and how you can make hypnosis into a separate and distinguished profession. 10 years or so ago, maybe more, I took the late Elson Eldridge's How to Become the Obvious Expert seminar, which will be taught this year by my friend and colleague, Wendy Packer, which basically says, in order to become recognized as the obvious expert, write a book. So the book that Elson Eldridge inspired me to write, the Websters Dictionary, How to Use the Web to Transform the World, won the World e-Democracy Trophée du Choix des Internautes in Paris. I was given the trophy in the French Foreign Ministry, the Quai d'Orsay, and it was absolutely transformational in terms of imprinting me as the obvious expert. I'm going to teach you all of the tricks, how you can use the web mesmerizingly as well. It comes down to casting yourself as the hero of your own story, rather than being didactic, meaning explaining things and being technical. What you really want to do is you want to generate a powerful narrative with you as the hero, transmitted through the web, and I will teach you all the hacks if you come to my seminar in Marlborough at the NGH Convention this year.
Well, I think that's really important. I mean, because it's a continuation. Obviously, you need to, Dr. Damon started to, push things in that direction along with Elson and Maurice and others, and they've got it to where it is. And it's important that as people become a hypnotist, that they take courses like yours, so they make sure they keep it on that track of being a profession that is distinguished.
And just remember, a lot of our professional success in the world is dictated by our perceived social status. If people see us as elite, then they're going to, the presumption is going to be that we're valuable. Okay. And the way you get perceived as elite is you behave in public and in private exactly the way other elite professions do. You dress right, you speak right, you emulate the other learned professions. And by the way, you associate with other learned professions. And one of the most fun ways of doing that is figuring out who your local elected representatives are. Your mayors, your city council people, your county council people, and your state representatives and senators. Okay. These people have to run for office every couple of years. Okay. And they're ravenous for your good opinion, right? And for the good opinion of your social network. So if you were willing to have a stage of coffee for your neighbors and your social acquaintances in your home, to meet the assembly person, to meet the state senator, forget the Washington guys, they're too full of themselves, but your local politicians, okay, will often be very open to the idea of coming to your house or to your chapter meeting or whatever it happens to be, to meet you and to ingratiate themselves with you, to put a not too fine a point on it. And by the way, this is money in the bank for the profession too, because when our competitors want to pass laws shutting down our practices, which has happened from time to time, and thank heavens for Scott.
Yes.
for fighting for our right to practice. To the extent you've made friends with your assembly person or with your state senator, they'll call you up when they hear that some of the local psychiatrist people are trying to shut us down. They'll call us up and say, "What should I do about this?" If they know you, that will treat you as an authority, and you can be at the front without having to break a sweat. You might find yourself actually testifying before your state legislature, talking about why hypnosis is a good thing and why it shouldn't be regulated out of practice in your state. So
that's great advice. That's great advice.
I'll go into a little more specificity for those who attend my class.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you at the convention. I want to wrap up with this one question, because you are an authority. So what would be your advice to other hypnotists on why they should attend the convention?
Oh, well, it's such, the answer is so obvious that I'm a little embarrassed to just state it right out there. But number one, there are three reasons, not just one. Okay. First of all, the convention is a blast, just as a way of seeking pleasure, finding the enjoyment of the sociability. It's an enormously sociable place, and to be meeting up with old friends year after year, getting their story and sharing your story with them, it's just a pure pleasure. Number two is the profession continues to evolve. And no matter how diligent you are about reading the journal, which I am, cover to cover, okay, or reading Hypnogram, which I am, there are no more covers on it, but hey, I know how to turn the pages of the PDF, okay? There's just no way to remain at the top of breaking events that is better than going to the convention, and of course to the Golden Weekend when you can afford to do that. So it's a great pleasure. You learn a lot about the state of the profession. And finally, there's always more to learn about becoming a proficient hypnotist. You have so many really accomplished, top of their profession people teaching their best practices, that it's a cornucopia of ways of improving our capabilities as a hypnotist. And if you are serious about being the best hypnotist you can possibly be, well, attending the convention is an absolute must, but also a pleasure.
Excellent. Well, Ralph Benko, I appreciate you taking the time to join us on our NGH podcast. You definitely have all kinds of information, but I would like to throw this out as we wrap up here, is that I want to invite you back to pick your brain on the other side of you, meaning all of everything that you're doing in your world in Washington that goes on, because I think people would find that just as interesting as your hypnosis side.
Well, thank you. I would be delighted to do that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Hypnosis NGH podcast. You're welcome to share your ideas for future podcasts by emailing us, nghpodcast@ngh.net.